Have you ever wanted to be someone who can't be shaken? Someone who stays calm no matter what people say, no matter the rejection, the loss, or even the betrayal. Have you ever imagined the moment when you would finally stop feeling that silent pain that eats you up inside, even when you keep smiling on the outside? Maybe you're just exhausted from trying to make everyone happy, from keeping up an image that always looks strong, when deep down, all you've been craving is a break, even just for a little while, from the pressure of acting untouchable. But let me share something that maybe no one has had the guts to tell you. As long as you keep running from pain, pain will keep controlling your life. The more you try to protect yourself by hiding or shutting down your emotions, the more you remain trapped by everything around you, by the words that hurt, by the actions that let you down, and by the silence that quietly tears you apart. And none of this means you're weak. It just means you're human, like most people. The only difference is that some are just better at pretending. Carl Jung, one of the biggest voices in depth psychology, once said that we're not shaped by what happens to us. We're shaped by what we decide to become. And that's the real key. It's not about building a wall between you and the world. It's not about becoming cold or untouchable. It's about being real with yourself. It's about shining a light on all the things that you've pushed into the dark corners of your mind. Because true strength doesn't come from avoiding pain. It comes from understanding exactly who you are, even when you're hurting. If you're still watching or reading, it's not random. This is meant for you, the one who's tired of being emotionally bruised by everything and everyone. It's for you who feels like you're always at a disadvantage emotionally, like others have a kind of power over your feelings that you can't explain. I want you to know that it doesn't have to stay like this. But to change it, you'll need to face some hard truths. They might sting, but that pain might just be the thing that finally sets you free. Let's begin. You believe the things that hurt you are out there, in what people do, in their careless words, in the moments they walked away or betrayed you. But the truth is tough. None of those things can truly hurt you unless there's already a wound inside you. What hurts is not what someone did to you, but what it awakens within you. It's the story you've told yourself about those things. It's the old pain that never healed. It's the emptiness that you've been covering up with toughness, with pride, with the need to look like everything's okay. Jung pointed out that the pain we feel from the outside world only mirrors what we haven't yet dealt with inside ourselves. That's why some people can go through disasters and still stay calm, while others fall apart over a single comment. It's not about what happens, it's about where it hits you. Here's a hard-to-swallow truth. You're still hurting so much because, deep down, you believe you can control how others treat you. You're still trying to be smart enough, kind enough, strong enough, hoping that if you do everything right, people won't hurt you. But control is just an illusion. And the longer you hold on to it, the more exhausted you become, always trying to see what's coming, trying to avoid what you can't avoid. Want to stop hurting? Then stop trying to protect yourself from every kind of hurt. What you truly need isn't more control. It's more awareness. As long as you think people need to behave a certain way for you to feel okay, you're giving them power over your peace. Real freedom begins the moment you realize that nothing from the outside can hurt you unless it echoes something inside. And that's where the real battleground is. Your unconscious mind. What you don't see, don't understand, and don't face, ends up controlling you. That's what we're going to explore next. Get ready to go deeper, because that's where true change begins. The biggest lie you've ever been told is that you're in control of your life. Wake up, because you're not, at least not while you're still living on autopilot. You react without knowing why. You feel things you can't explain. You make choices you later regret. Carl Jung made this clear when he said that until you make your unconscious mind conscious, it will lead your life and you'll just call it destiny. And that's exactly what's happening to you. The sadness you can't explain, the anger that suddenly explodes, the pain that shows up out of nowhere, none of it is random. These are signals from forgotten or ignored parts of yourself. Jung called this hidden place the unconscious. It's not just a foggy cloud of thoughts. It's a powerful system filled with your memories, your old wounds, your desires, and your fears. You don't want to face them, but they still shape how you feel and act. Have you ever wondered why certain words break you, while others shrug them off? It's because those words touch something raw inside you, something that hasn't healed. And if it's still alive in you, it means you've never really faced it. You've only swept it under the rug. But now, it keeps tripping you up. Jung said we can't change anything unless we first accept it. Blaming or judging yourself won't set you free. It just adds more pressure. The truth is, ignoring your unconscious doesn't make it go away. It just finds sneakier, more painful ways to show up. In repeated toxic relationships, in habits you can't break, in random fears and anxiety when things finally start going well. That's not bad luck. That's your inner world trying to shake you awake. But still, you pretend everything's fine. Do you want to stop getting hurt so easily? Then stop running from what lives inside you. Because as long as you stay unaware of your unconscious, you're a puppet to your emotions. And the more you try to protect yourself from outside pain, the more exposed you are to what's going on inside. But here's the good news. There is a way out. And it's not by building thicker armor. It's by getting to know yourself deeply. Becoming untouchable isn't about fighting the world. It's about really seeing yourself. That's what we'll explore next. What does it really mean to be someone who can't be shaken? And why does real power not come from walls, but from acceptance? Most people believe that to avoid pain, they have to shut themselves off. So they build emotional walls, wear masks, and pretend they don't feel anything. They say, "I don't care anymore," or "nothing bothers me." But inside, they're still bleeding. Inside, the pain is still there, growing. Because the issue was never about feeling too much. The issue was not understanding what you feel or why. That only happens when you don't truly know yourself. Jung once said that no matter how much you learn, how many techniques you master, when you deal with a human soul, just be a human soul. That soul you keep hiding behind the act of being strong, in control, and untouchable. It's crying out to be seen. Real emotional strength doesn't mean being cold. It doesn't mean pretending things don't affect you or running from conflict. It means embracing everything within you, even the dark parts. You don't become untouchable by building a shield around yourself. You become untouchable when you accept everything that already lives within you. When you stop being scared of your own fears, your weaknesses, and your flaws, when you make peace with your own shadow, then nothing from outside can shake you. Because you're no longer reacting, you're observing. You're making conscious choices. You stop being controlled by emotions, and you start living with clarity. That is true freedom. Jung called this process individuation. It's about becoming your real self, not what others think you should be, not what you think you need to be to get love or approval, but who you are when your light and darkness meet in harmony. And individuation isn't about being perfect. It's about being whole. You don't have to be a better version of yourself. You just need to become complete. And here's the truth nobody tells you. The more you try to run from pain, the more it follows you. The more you try not to feel, the more easily you break. Because healing doesn't happen in the light. It happens when you step into the dark and finally choose to face what you've always avoided. But when you finally face your own pain, when you embrace all that you are, the beautiful and the flawed, the noble and the shameful, nothing from outside can truly shake you. Still, walking this path takes bravery. It takes the courage to turn inward, the bravery to drop the masks, and the strength to truly feel. Because within the pain itself lies the key to transformation. And that's what we're about to uncover. How suffering, instead of being an enemy, can become the doorway to your deepest power. Let's go further, this time with no fear. Since you were young, you were made to believe pain was something bad. You were taught that hurting meant you were weak, that crying was pointless, that feeling deeply made you too open and exposed. So, you started to run from it. You avoided it. You denied it. But the more you ran from pain, the more it followed you. And worse, it began to change forms. It started showing up as stress, frustration, emptiness, destructive behaviors that even you couldn't explain. Pain that is buried doesn't go away. It just starts digging holes inside you until one day, everything collapses. Carl Jung saw pain in a completely different light. He believed that pain is how the soul speaks, that it's the signal from the unconscious, the language your full self uses to get your attention. He once said that depression is like a woman dressed in black. If she appears, don't send her away. Invite her in, offer her a drink, and listen to what she has to say. But we don't listen. We quiet ourselves, distract ourselves, stay constantly busy, or numb ourselves. We do anything to avoid facing what actually matters. But what is this pain trying to show you? The truth is, pain hurts so much because deep down, you're still fighting with yourself. One part of you wants to grow, and another part is terrified of change. Something inside is begging for transformation, but your ego, so used to being in control, tries to shut that voice down. That inner battle is where pain comes from. Change is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. Releasing old patterns, cutting ties that are hurting you, letting things die that no longer help you, all of that feels like a loss. It's like going through an internal death and rebirth. But in that broken place, something new can begin. Because when everything within you is taken apart, when everything you were sure of falls apart, when your pain exposes your softest spots, you can finally see yourself for real. Without the walls. Without pretending. Without the lies. And that's when suffering becomes something sacred, because it humbles you before the only thing that can truly free you, your true self. Jung understood this. He saw that suffering isn't a failure, it's part of becoming whole. Pain is not the finish line, it's the doorway to your real journey. But most people never walk through it. They give up before reaching the heart of it. They escape. They distract themselves. They return to the surface. But not you. If you're still here, it means you're ready to step through. And in the next part, we'll look at what that journey actually looks like. Because this path, though it may feel lonely and hard, is what finally leads you to freedom. Let's keep going. We're going deeper now. Not many have the bravery to begin this kind of journey, and even fewer have the courage to complete it. Because this path doesn't give you comfort. It offers no promises. It doesn't protect your ego. It tears it apart. Jung called this process individuation, becoming who you truly are. But to do that, you have to first unlearn who you thought you were. And that can hurt more than any rejection from someone else. Because you begin to see that most of what you believed about yourself was just survival. You are not your awards. You are not your trauma. You are not the image you built so people would like you, admire you, or accept you. All of that was part of how you made it through life. But making it through isn't the same as living. And individuation is life's call to move beyond just surviving. When this process begins, your unconscious starts to push everything you've hidden, everything you've buried or twisted, up to the surface. It asks you to take off the mask. Jung wrote that the persona, the mask you wear for society, is just a cover-up, a kind of shared agreement. And to find the real you, You have to peel back your own layers to see what's underneath. That's when you start to become unshakable, not because nothing affects you, but because you've already faced the worst. You've stared down your inner demons. You've looked into your own neediness, your guilt, your anger, and you've said, "I see you, but you don't get to rule me anymore." That kind of self-honesty gives you a power that doesn't rely on applause, approval, or control. You stop needing everyone to like you. You stop needing to win every debate. You stop needing to look strong, because now you know your strength. And no one can take that from you. Real emotional armor isn't something on the outside. It's something at your center. It's when all the parts of you come together into a calm, conscious core. You can still feel pain, but it doesn't shatter you. You can still be hurt, but you don't forget who you are. Because you've stopped reacting blindly, and you've started living from a place of wholeness. You no longer float on the surface. You now live in the depths. But reaching that depth has its cost: loneliness. Not because you'll be truly alone, but because few people are ready to walk beside you on this path. Most are still stuck on the surface, behind their masks, scared of feeling too much. So as you free yourself, you naturally grow distant from those who aren't ready to do the same. But this space isn't rejection. It's part of growing up. You're not stepping away out of arrogance. You're stepping away because you no longer belong in the places where you used to hide. And that leads us to something powerful: awareness as your protection. Because what guards you isn't strength in the usual sense, it's clarity. And that's what we'll explore in the final part. How awareness, once it becomes your normal state, makes sure that nothing and no one can truly break you again. Let's complete this journey together. We're almost there. Now that you've made it this far, there's something important you need to hear. Nothing outside you will stop hurting until you wake up to what's going on inside you. Words will still cut. Rejections will still sting. Losses will still feel like falling, until you become aware. And awakening isn't some magical experience. It's a decision you make every single day. It's choosing to turn inward, even when it's painful. It's taking full ownership of how you feel, without pointing fingers at other people, the past, or life itself. Jung said, "What you resist persists. What you accept transforms." You've spent your life fighting the fear of being unworthy, running from the pain of being left out, trying to not feel the loneliness, trying to be seen. So what did you do? You hid. You kept quiet. You tried to control everything. You tried to be perfect. You tried to always be strong. And that's what brought you here. Exhausted. Tired of fighting the world. Tired of fighting yourself. But now you understand. Real emotional strength doesn't come from being cold. It comes from being clear. It's not about building walls. It's about growing your awareness. Because when you understand where your pain comes from, when you know your patterns, your emotional triggers, what others do loses the power to destroy you. You still feel things, but you don't fall apart. You still suffer sometimes, but you don't lose yourself. And that changes everything. The real protection doesn't come from hiding from life. It comes from diving straight into it. People who stay on the surface get knocked over by every little wave. But those who go deep, who live from within, they discover calm, stability, and real strength. And that's exactly where you're going. Once you start living from that place of self-awareness, presence, and acceptance, the world may try to push you down, but it won't know where to hit anymore. It can't find the weak spot, because that spot is no longer there. If something in this message moved something in you, write it in the comments below. Say it. I choose awareness. Let's create a wave of people who aren't pretending to be strong anymore, but who are ready to live with honesty. And don't forget, the next video is part of this journey too. You need to keep going. Real change begins only when you refuse to stop after the first step. I'll see you there.